Hey guys, Veebat here with another V-Plays, taking a look at the ME329 German Tier A ground attacker. But I want you to note something at the very beginning here. I took a look at the battle screen and I noted that there were two enemy players and they were flying in a flight. And both of those aircraft are IL-20s. Now I informed my teammate of this, knowing that I have one other teammate not in a flight with me. And I tell him we really need to focus these IL-20s, otherwise we're going to have a tough time. I don't get any acknowledgement whatsoever. I'm not sure what his plan is. My suggestion is if you guys ever see anybody talking tactics in your little chat screen on the bottom left hand side, at least acknowledge it even if you're not going to follow the plan, because right now I don't know if I'm playing alone, if this guy's even here, or what the plan is. So I just would appreciate the courtesy, and I think that's something that all of us should try and pay to one another even if we're not going to go with the plan. So with that aside, let's talk about the airframe. With the ME329, it is going to follow in the tradition of what we've seen with the previous ground attackers for the Germans. It is mostly going to be a counter GA platform. Its air-to-ground armament is nothing really to write home about. It does get more consistent firepower with 4 30mm cannons, and it gets a little bit more damage with the 500-pound bombs. They up the damage by another 600 points. But the first thing I'm doing when I come in here is I want to take out the most critical structure, which is going to be this main facility right here, which is worth 80 capture points, which should allow us to be able to keep the enemy at bay, because the IL-20 has 12 rockets and 2 Fab 500 bombs, each doing 7,000 damage apiece, and 2 57mm cannons, and you can see that they're already making their way into this zone. So I'm just trying to keep ahead of them the best that I can, and they're already starting to counter me. I'm getting into an air-to-air fight with IL-20s, and this is indicative of what players should be doing. They should be fighting each other when it comes to seeing another GA in the zone, but I'm going to have better luck at doing it, but with two of them it's going to be a real challenge. If these IL-20s would have ignored me and just rolled through this zone and used their combination of rockets, bombs, and forward-firing guns, they would have been able to systematically take out each one of the ground objectives, and they probably would have been able to take the zone before I would have been able to kill one of them. But they kind of got blood in their eyes, and they definitely wanted to go after me. I'm trying to reiterate to my buddy in the F2G, I need you to put your guns down, and I need you to start shooting at these IL-20s. And I don't know if he didn't get the message or didn't see it. He was in that zone and he did die to fighting one of the bots, and that's understandable, so maybe he heard what I was saying, maybe he didn't. One of the advantages of the ME329 is that the 329 is a very fast airframe. In fact, a nice thing about it is that you don't even need to upgrade the engines. In order to get the ME329, you have to unlock the top engine on the 265, the Tier 7 predecessor. That engine upgrade is going to be the same top engine for this aircraft, so you will already start out with maximum engine upgrade on this airframe. And with a solid boost and a little bit of descent here, you can see we're getting well over 400 miles an hour, and we're able to close on the enemy. I see this IL-20's on low health. I want to get in here fast before they're able to flip the capture zone. Luckily, my bots are giving them a hard time by killing their bots at altitude. I'm going to manage to take out this IL-20. I'm trying to be very wary of these guys dropping bombs, because those Fab 500 bombs are going to be more than enough to be able to take out my aircraft. I'm trying to stay behind him to the best of my ability, because he definitely will be able to crush me with those 57s, but he is flying much slower than I am, and it is really hard for me to get away from him. But I note that he's going in this direction at low altitude, so I drop my bombs right in his path. I know that he's coming in to shoot these ground targets, and that bomb was more than enough to be able to wipe out that target, and then I'm coming back in and trying to wipe out what's left of the ground targets in order to flip this zone. I should just need to grab this one spot. He claims that I'm lucky, but you guys saw that. I definitely was planning on that attack, and I knew that that was going to be the best move. One of the things that I liked about this particular battle is it allowed me to emphasize the major difference between the two different types of ground attack platforms. The Russians are very much a shock and awe, really good at being able to take out ground targets, and they've also been known to be able to flip a mining facility in under a minute. Meanwhile, the ME-329 is going to have a heck of a time trying to compete with that, but I can do what you're seeing here. I can kill aircraft. I can operate at higher altitude, I can operate at a much faster speed, and I have much more consistent forward firing guns, and that's really where our strength lies. The fact that these two IL-20s are trying to engage me in my domain, which is going to be an air-to-air engagement, is a mistake on their part. Between the two of them, they could have broken off, ignored the rocket facility entirely, sent one each after a mining facility. They both could have flipped those easily enough. By the time I would have gotten there to try and flip it back, they could have met in the middle and then flipped the rocket zone back over. The rocket base, or the military base, is an advantage for me because I have a really tough time doing ground attack. So it's nice to be able to have this site augmenting my capability by launching rockets towards these sites I'm trying to capture. For them, the rocket base is only going to be a hazard. It's not something they need to aid them just to do their primary role. Looks like the ground attackers have made their way back to this area and they are after me. They are launching rockets every which way. They are chasing me, launching those 57mm cannons at me, and when they make contact, you can see right there, massive chunks of my health are dissipating off the aircraft. Another nice thing about this aircraft is that the tail gunner gets upgraded significantly. There's only one gun on it, but that one gun has a field of fire of 60 degrees to the left and right, 60 degrees up and 40 degrees down, and it's built in a really cool really cool setup here. You can see it's almost like a circle mounted in the back with a slit, and that circle will allow that gun to go up and down, and then the slit allows it to traverse side to side. And it's actually a 20mm cannon when fully upgraded, which means it has some serious damage and some decent range. So it's very nice, and it's really good at being able to do that tag and drag technique we saw with the ME-265 against those light fighters that may be defending a zone. I'm trying to drop bombs again in the path of this aircraft, but it looks like he knows what I'm trying to do here, and I don't think I'm going to be able to do it, so I'm just going to have to try and counter these aircraft the old-fashioned way with my guns. You can see my tail gunner is singing away. His buddy's already on me. He took out both of my engines. I'm just kind of floating here at this point, and I'm trying to do the best that I can at this stage, considering squall line is closing very, very rapidly at this stage. Getting the forward guns on target. My tail gunner took out the one aircraft. I have dropped my bombs. It looks like I have hurt or damaged this aircraft. I'm not sure if I managed to take him out in this instance, but I'm going to go ahead and take a look at the results screen here, and yeah, it looks like I might have knocked one of them out, but I did make it before the squall line, which was nice. So I'm going to be able to come back and try and fight a little bit more in that area. The thing I really like about the ME-329 is that unlike the 265, which is clearly just a conceptual redesign of the ME-410 Tier 6 heavy fighter, where they just stripped off the main control surfaces, reversed the wings, and gave it a reverse single wing design, the ME-329, while all conceptual aircraft, was more designed from the ground up, which allowed them to be able to write in that they were going to equip it with 4 similar cannons. Stock, this thing gets 4 20mm cannons. The 30mm are going to be your next step up. When it comes to the upgrade tree, highly recommend putting on the engines you've already unlocked to the airframe in order to maximize its strength, which is speed. And then using whatever free experience you have to re-equip bombs, because you're not going to be able to carry over the 2 500-pound bombs from the 265. These are totally different bombs, and you're going to need to unlock them for this airframe. But this will also unlock them for the Tier 9 and the Tier 10 German ground attacker as well. Wombat is after me with those rockets. It is definitely a little bit hair-raising. He is getting some shots on me, but now I'm trying to use my altitude against him because I know he can't climb up here. The next thing I would upgrade would be the forward-firing cannons to get the 30mm opposed to using the 20s, and then the final thing I would upgrade would be the tail gunner, because the tail gunner is already going to be a 15mm cannon. Getting the 20mm cannon is just going to make it that much more effective. Alright, looks like he's not paying attention to me anymore, so I'm now going to dive onto the target. I'm going to use my speed. I know that the battle's pretty much over at this point, but I really want to get a kill on this guy, so I'm going for it. We're getting some heavy damage on the aircraft. We took out his tail control surface, and it looks like that was enough to make it hard for him to pull out of that dive, which is really challenging when you're at low speed in those particular airframes. Not a great match, but I really think it emphasized the dual capabilities of this type of airframe. Again, the game really doesn't reward you for playing against aircraft in a GA. In a lot of cases, it's going to end up hindering your overall point score, but it obviously resulted in a win, and if I hadn't been there countering these IL-20s, I'm sure I would have had a heck of a time trying to win this particular match. Taking a look at the Endgame Stat screen, you'll see we made decent credits, but we would have lost credits if we were running a non-premium. I am running universal ammo on this aircraft. I think it's warranted because the chance of fire is going to be enough to augment that already bad air-to-ground capability. Once you start a building on fire, it's only a matter of time until it's knocked out, so it'll just burn out. You don't need to shoot it anymore, and you can move on to a subsequent target. So it's worth your time to get a building on fire, and I feel it's worth the extra credits to be able to try and progress through this airframe a little bit better. Again, the experience gain on ground attackers is lackluster at best. I managed to get a total of 5,602 experience on a ×2, and I'd like to think I did pretty good here, but all in all, this is going to be a little bit of more of the same with a 265. Compared to the 329, but you're going to be a little bit faster, you're going to have stronger bombs, and you're going to have more consistent forward firing cannons, and the tail gunner's nothing to turn your nose up either. All in all, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video and that you're looking forward to the 329. I think it looks way better than the 265 and it feels a lot better to fly. And I do enjoy the look of it. It looks a lot like a B-2 Spirit bomber to me, like its predecessor to what we now have as one of our strategic stealth bombers. And it's nice to see the conceptual development that Mr. Northrop used in order to develop his designs based off of some of the conceptual designs the Germans built in World War II, even though they never came to fruition. Thank goodness, right? But again, guys, if you liked the video, go ahead, like, favorite, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you liked, what you didn't like, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.